There we go. Oh, is this frozen? Alright. Ah, there we go. There we go. Don't know why it was bugged. How's everyone doing? Let's make sure everything's working just fine. Seems some of the things I'm using to oh geez, the test thing. Ooh. We'll give it a minute. Hi everybody, I'm a little bit on the late end, but trust me, I had good reason, and by that I mean I was EP and waking the fuck up. Take my pills. Ugh. A lot of this is to just talk things like schedule for the week, among other things. There is the politics tag, because like, come on, I'm not limiting my discussion. We'll see. The reason why the stream is going to be a little bit short is because we started late, and I may have phone calls in a couple hours. So that is the reason for that. Speaking of various duties, and responsibilities, there is not going to be a stream this Wednesday, but we are going to be playing some more Hollow Knight tomorrow. And hopefully, if nothing happens, I will try to play some more Zenless on Thursday, and the mystery stream of Friday, I will attempt to do that. Last time, what happened is I was going to play it. There was a game that I was going to play, but it had an update that took several hours to do. Which, my bad. Should have checked. But that doesn't change the fact. Why is the... I may need to reset my model, because it seems to be having issues just sticking to... Okay. We're gonna reset the model real quick. Be wary, the background is gonna open up. Alright. I'm going to save. Yep. Going to save it so that some of the corrections I made still stand, and then we're going to close and reopen. Because yeah. Alright. Yep, there we go. Hopefully now we switch this over. Zoom out. There we go. Everything should be working now. Oh, hello, Thomas. I've sensed your presence.
Ah,
I was just
like
setting
what?
up stream. It took me way longer than intended to actually press start on the stream, and that is because I was trying to. There was a bug with adding text files to OBS. Like
Huh.
adding like, text onto the pre-stream overlay. It was a small bug, but it was very weird. It was very weird.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm definitely gonna be kind of like maybe in and out muted.
Makes sense.
Because I am making a decent amount of phone calls. I just called like an orthopedic clinic and then calling uh work my work site medical and all that. So
Mhm.
expecting another phone call. This upcoming phone call is whether or not if I had to come into work today or not. Which if I do have to come into work, that I don't necessarily have any restrictions set, so they're not quite sure if I really come into work. They're not quite sure what I would be doing.
Yeah, considering you have exactly one usable hand.
Yeah, so they're basically they're making they themselves are making a few calls to figure out if I have to come into work or not.
Yeah, I was.
Like I have a feeling that I probably don't have to, but
Always
yeah,
good to check.
always good to check. But yeah, no, I have to go. I have to go and back to the work medical site like tomorrow at 1, and then the next day, like almost 24 hours later, I need to go to the orthopedic clinic for them to actually do a proper checkup.
Mm.
So this is all fun, and God, it. I knew that I was like an adult already, but like, damn, this kind of hit a little different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. It's like whenever you walk into a it's like whenever you walk into City Hall to go pay your sewage fee.
Yeah, it's like the crushing realization that like, oh, I'm an adult.
Yeah,
I have to do this shit.
that feel like was way worse when because now I live with some people, but like when I was living all by myself, there's just this sort of like looming dread of like, all right, I gotta do, I gotta, I have to make sure that I don't like fall because like there's not a whole lot of options of what would happen if I did.
Yeah, fucking. No, I found it funny when I was setting up the appointment. Like, I started out with like with I don't know, kind of awkwardly like gave my name first, and then like as before I could say anything else, my mom grabbed the phone and she went, "No, hold on, let me handle this." I'm like, "Oh, okay," because like I'm not used to that, and my brain was kind of locking up a little.
he said
Yeah, I
no
was still waiting on
pickles.
yeah, hopefully.
So, on a completely tangential aside,
Yeah.
I've been getting into roughly
Yeah.
animating.
As soon as I get an answer.
Is the software doing the thing again? Okay, just making sure everything's fine. But yeah, there's a so completely unrelated, but I've been getting a little bit into doing like rough animations again. A little bit different than how I normally do. There's no skeleton phase. I just draw, and I don't work at all to make it like neat.
Yeah.
Hence why the gif of me just exploding myself. That one was a fun one. Uh, brain, dude, the brain thing. Fuck. Um, me looking at Final Fantasy XIV's free trial and going like, I know what I may want to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it. Just to restart all the way from A Realm Reborn. I would. It's like I don't have the money to continue playing through Stormblood, but fuck, I do like playing that game. It is crack. Stormblood, I was really liking it, that expansion. Don't mind me looking at one of the plot arcs and going like, you can make smut of this.
Man, honestly, I will say, I think out of all the MMOs I played, I do like Final Fantasy 14 is up there. Like, it's actually probably probably the highest in terms of like how much I enjoyed it. However, if I could create the perfect MMO, it'd have like the story and all that of like Final Fantasy 14, and maybe the combat systems there. The ability to kind of change the story around from what was it? What was that Star Wars one called?
Knights of the Old Republic?
Yeah, Knights of the Old Republic. You get the ability to go like good, evil, and kind of switch around the story there. And then funny enough, this is a little cursed, but you take the movement, the cleaner movement and animation, and I guess upgraded. I'm not like all for like big graphics and all that, but the upgraded graphics from World of Warcraft. You take all of the mechanical stuff, none of the story stuff from there, and you combine it all, and I think you'd have a really good one. Because you'd have a really good story that can be changed and modified to how you want to play it, and then on top of that, you have a lot of mechanical backup for it, where like everything feels smooth and right.
Now we need to find the perfect person to give God's budget to.
Yeah, fuck it. Honestly, that's gonna be the hardest part.
Yeah, cause it's like, that would be cool. However, God, the budget required
for that would be insane. And on top of that, I doubt that MMO would be cheap.
Apparently, because I was not here during those days of FF14, but apparently, when Gaius von Balsar goes up, it's like, do you believe in Eorzea? You could have just given him the answer no. Like, that used to be an option.
That's goofy. I wonder what would happen if you said no.
I can't remember, but it's like, but yeah, I think there was a temporary amount of time where you could just say like, actually, no, I don't believe in them at all.
Wait, then why do you fight for them? The money.
The money. So I feel like you could have the nuance of I don't believe in them, but I don't believe in you either.
Yeah.
Like,
I
hate this place, but I'll be damned if I join slavers. Aren't you allied with Old Dot? We don't talk about it.
We don't talk about it. We don't talk about... You work with Old Dot? Yeah, we don't talk about it, as you're like hiding the fact that you're probably bought by the Gold Saucer.
People of Ul'dah, I have sold a third of the state for Catboy Boosie.
people of Volta, I have sold the incoming refugees to the gold saucer.
Raban, no!
Raban, yes. Wait, Raban, we didn't even get an increase in profits on our treasury. What did you get? What'd you get in return for that? A singular cat boy.
I don't know why I started that bit. Like, I genuinely don't understand where that bit came from. But I found it, it's like I know it has stuck with me. I gotta say though, Raban is a fucking like cool ass character.
Yeah.
You finished The Realm Reborn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the fuck it, just some spoilers for anyone in chat who's thinking about playing the game. Raban has a "how about I just fucking kill you" ass moment, and I'm like, I fucking respect him for that. Because I was shouting at the screen like, wait, don't they have the political sway or just power to just kill some of these like bad actors? And I really liked when all the chips were falling down, Raban just looking at one person and going like, actually, you know what? I know you're full of shit and I can't do anything to you legally. However, how about I just fucking kill you?
You can't make any more fuckery if you're dead.
Nice maneuver. Nice political maneuver. What if I just killed you? Which, like, props on Raban. That's such a, like... I got so giddy. I got so giddy and, like, cheered when that fucking scene happened. I'm like, yeah. Seeing a Lalafell get fucking cleaved.
I mean, fucker had it coming.
I mean, yeah.
You know, funny, I find it funny that no matter all the villains I've come through, I never come across such a smug one as the Lalafell. Just smug little shits.
They do a good job by making those villains like these people confident in the fact that you can't do anything to them legally because they're rich and fucking powerful.
But then, of course, they don't really consider the fact that, like, maybe you just don't follow the law.
Yeah. It's like, oh, everyone's getting arrested anyways. Raban, just kill one of them. It's like... There's a reveal later that I'm like, about. In terms of reveals, I think it's a little because it makes one of the merchants go up and it's like, I'm secretly I there was more pieces in play and it wasn't as bad as you thought. It's like, okay, now consider the following. What if your plan fucked up a little bit and you're the one Raban stabbed? Like
that itself is like risky.
It's one of those like, it's like a masterful gambit. It's like, but it's like, probably in terms of writing, probably one of the weakest plot points of FF14. When it happens, you'll probably agree with me. Um, it's just like a fucking reveal about that whole like coup attempt that I'm like, well, that felt a little toothless from a writing perspective. That's fine. They make up for it by adding consequences to other things. It was one of those plot points that had me like groaning because I'm like, ah, great, we're resetting back to neutral when it felt like things should have obviously fucking changed.
Yeah. Fucking entire fucking side note. Before I went to bed last night, I went down a minor rabbit hole of like, remember the one time I fucking like you went down the rabbit hole of like different FNAF game mechanics and like how the AI works?
Oh yeah.
Something similar, but this time with the old SCP Containment Breach game. And not necessarily the AI, but like how other mechanics work. Like, apparently, health in that game is fucking wild and weird.
Oh, is it like the horror scoped channel?
Let me check. Let me actually look through my history.
Yeah, because I know that's the...
No, it was by someone named Omencito.
Ah, okay. I'm not familiar with them.
Yeah, so effectively they found some very goofy, because as we all know, SCP Containment Breach, early the old one, is kind of just made with like spaghetti code a little bit. It's a little wonky. Like to the point where for example, a normal med kit will heal you for a bit, but can't heal if your injuries are at a certain point. They can't heal you below it. But at the very lowest, it can take you to like what 0.5 injuries, which I'll explain injuries in a bit. It'll take you down to 0.5 injuries, even if you're below 0.5. So technically, if you use a med kit before you're even injured, you will actually hurt yourself.
Interesting.
You know, but yeah, if you upgrade it, using Finan 914 and get the small med kit, that can heal you fully. Actually, apparently, when it comes to healing items, the small med kit is just the best item. Simply best item in the game. Easy. He went over all these different mechanics and all that, and it's very neat. Very neat dive in rabbit hole. Another thing I watched his other video, which was I forget the numbers for it, but it's the vending machine one, where you order it, because apparently you can. It's apparently really easy to make your own custom drink in that game. If you go into like the files, and also apparently you can set your own sound fonts and all that. And he showed an example by like having one that did the whole GameCube intro, but at the end the cup exploded. But apparently you can also set it where if you have, funny enough, there's a few drinks you make that your character would like refuse, and there's like a refusal message, and as long as that refusal message is there, your character will refuse to drink it. However, there's a weird bug where upon refusing it, of course you won't drink it, it will still have the drink, but you'll still get the effects. Meaning that refusal is technically the strongest mechanic in the game, because if you have something like a powerful like healing drink, but with the refusal tag, you can just literally just huff that and just be healed. It's weirdly powerful.
It's just lean.
spleen. But apparently there's a bunch of different things of course color, opacity, whether or not it's explosive, whether or not it'll make you nauseous, give you a blurred effect, increase or decrease, give you a buff or debuff on your blink and stamina. Could he give you injuries? Could either give you blood or get rid of your blood somehow. Oh yeah, I should loop back around to how injuries work. So there is no actual set HP for your character. There's two things. There's injury and then there's blood loss. And injuries don't really do anything, or at least don't start to do anything until you hit 0.5. And upon hitting 0.5, your movement will slightly slow, and your camera will slightly sway. And nothing will really happen until you hit above 1 injury. Above 1. In which case, you will start to slowly bleed, and of course, the higher your injury is above 1, the faster you bleed out. And bleeding out kind of does, a set amount of blood loss per second. And if your blood loss equals 100, you die. And then, so injuries themselves can't necessarily kill you. However, you have to put an asterisk with that because apparently there's some enemy attacks and whatnot that upon hitting you, check what level of injury you're at, and if the damage were to bring you over that threshold into the attack's kill threshold, then it kills you. But there's also some things that don't have a kill threshold, like the zombies that the Plague Doctor make. They can make you bleed, but they actually don't have a injury threshold. Meaning that, upon experimenting, where he just kind of this guy was standing in front of 2 zombies, and he was letting them beat on him, and he accrued, I think, 120 injury before he bled out. So, unfortunately,
ripped asunder.
Ripped asunder, yeah. Though I think at some certain point, I think if you reach 4 or 5 injury, you can't move anymore. Or I think it's 6 or 7, but still, it's relatively high injury until you can't move anymore. And then now leads to the goofiest of goofy spaghetti code thing, which is at the entrance zone where you have to deal with the MTF. If you have the heavy ballistic vest on, and they fire at you, they start shooting at you. If the bullet hits but doesn't actually bring you above the threshold due to having the body armor, which has 3 different layers of fucking defense for you, if you were above 4 injuries, it'll bring you back down to 4. So technically, the bullet can heal you. And also, apparently, the ballistic vest, or at least the heavy one, is such a stupidly overpowered item. Because,
actual body armor.
Actual body armor, but even then, it's stronger. It's strong even for typical body armor. It's stronger than it should be. Because you can stand there for minutes without actually dying, because effectively with the heavy ballistic armor, of course, reduces a lot of damage down, and for each bullet shot, or there's a bullet that hits you, there's a bit of RNG. So effectively, the bullet needs to first hit you, and then to even deal damage, it needs to deal above 1 injury. If it does above 1 injury, the game will check if it brings you to the kill threshold, which there's a rare chance that it will. And so already already that's pretty good. But every time it puts you in the kill threshold, there's a 1 in 3 chance that the hit will actually be lethal. Meaning that, yeah, you'll start bleeding. You'll definitely start bleeding out, but there's a very good chance that if you're wearing heavy ballistic armor that the bullet just simply won't kill you or do anything. Now, mind you, I think being shot will interrupt your healing process, so you do need to get the fuck out of there if you want to heal up, but that armor should allow you to tank a lot of shit. Unfortunately, it doesn't stop shit like Peanut snapping your neck or the Plague Doctor turning you into a zombie, but, you take what you can get.
Extra health is extra health.
Yeah. Yeah, when are those guys gonna call me back? It's been, damn near 40 minutes.
Woe upon the fucking paperwork.
Because I don't necessarily have a doctor's note to skip out on today, but if I show up to work, there's not much I could do, so I'm just up in the air. But yeah, fucking some wild ass rabbit hole I went down, the actual just coding of SCP containment breach, and then now that's kind of leading me on to the goofy ass thing talking about the D class you play as and how technically saving and loading is canonical in the game, meaning that that the D class you play as is actually anomalous in nature.
So
because
So, my brain went on a side thing, because we were talking FF14 a little earlier. A thing I wanted to go up and, mention as a shitpost is, the funny idea that is, one-shots of, dungeons and things I've already, set up. Take dungeons and shit, but you know how in FF14 it's let's say Hawk Manor, and then you have Hawk Manor Hard, or it's just scaled up. I was it'd be funny if it's just a one shot of concepts I've already run, but just set to a higher difficulty level.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
Because I was
what we play our characters from that setting, or play something else, or
it'd be different because it'd be one shot. It'd be a one shot type of thing. It'd be a disconnected from the story overall, or it could just be a shitpost of here's a B team of mercenaries sent to do this for a different task entirely, or just in a different context, the abandoned library of the Wood Mage that you guys went through in my nautical themed campaign, where it's the hard mode is before it was abandoned.
So the wizard's there. Or not the wizard, the kineticist is there.
Well, they're an actual fucking mage. They're not a kineticist. There's just a themed mage. No, the thing that it'd be the monsters that are there are a little bit harder. Some of there's some the information there is a little bit more useful than what it'd be more of like, I guess, import. It's like it'd be a little bit more important.
Ooh, I think a good classic one would, because like it wasn't like too long a dungeon, but it was pretty decent. Was the it was one of the first boss, or I think the first major boss fight in Song of the Realms.
Oh, the Raven Queen's temple.
Yeah, Raven. Oh shit, I forgot that was the first one.
Yeah,
okay. Raven's Queen temple, and then followed by the Jinn one, where we had to go onto the floating tower at Arcanex.
Yeah. Though if I'm running it in Pathfinder 2nd Edition and just cranking up the difficulty, it'd be like, hello, here's this fucking Pharasma, like adding Pharasma flair instead for the first one, and then it's like, oh, because it'd be like a completely different thing. The floating tower would be kind of a neat one. Honestly, crank up the sort of Temple of Death type of concept to like level 7, and then crank up the floating tower from level 7 to level 9. That'd be cool. And I think, yep. Well, while he goes up and deals with that phone call, I'll go and sort of continue spitballing to the audience. Yeah, so I like the idea of dungeons that I used for a main story being used for one-shots, isolated from the context that they were originally from. That said, I want to run a lot more of those in, like, Pathfinder 2nd Edition. So even things as simple as... for anyone who is familiar with the Voidwalkers game I ran on this channel, there was, once upon a time, there was actually like a full-on encounter, a full-on dungeon of that, that took place in a sort of sewers that was, that had some work done on it to become the secret lair of a necromancer. Slash traitor. And honestly, running that as a Starfinder one-shot, because it was straight up a Starfinder game. I don't know, that could be fun. Oh, I'll have to remember how I ran that. But like a hard mode version of the Voidwalkers. Oh god, wait, no, Starfinder upgrades to the Starfinder 2nd Edition difficulty increased versions of things I did for Voidwalkers kind of goes hard as fuck, actually. I'm tempted. I won't even need to do all that much to... I should still have the maps, right? In theory? I hand drew a lot of those maps. Let me take a look. There's a map labeled thousands of feet in the air. PNG YouTuber assets. I'd still want to do Voidwalker comics at some point. I just need to settle on certain things a little bit better. I've gotten way better at art since I started Voidwalkers. I'm curious if I have the dungeon from Voidwalkers still as an asset that I can use. Because if so, I'm totally gonna turn that into like a module. Would people be interested in me making adventure modules? Cause like I got some good thing. Okay, if I don't have the if I don't have the maps, then I can probably work on brain do the brain thing. If I don't have the maps available, I could just redraw them. They were really cool. In fact, I can probably check. I'm gonna check my Roll20. That has made me wonder if I should run Voidwalkers in 2nd edition. Because like that would be fine. That would be fine. Okay. So I have the I think my Roll20 still has the maps. When did I make these? Did I make these with the old computer? Sorry, chat. I'm trying to suss out where the where my old Voidwalker stuff was. It's clear that I have art. Where did I put? There's the Zephyr Pharmaceuticals. I could probably up the quality of these dungeons a little bit more. Okay. So I'm gonna show you guys my Roll20. Just to show you what I mean by some of the dungeons I've made. That I'm like, I should totally make them into modules. With like up difficulty. For like oh, here's this version of the here's a new version of the thing. Just freshen it up in terms of actual experience. I'm going to I'm gonna fucking teleport our ass over to the abode. There we go. Oh yeah, that's still valid, by the way. If we get to 120 followers, I will make a maid outfit alt that you can use channel points to redeem, putting me into it. Alright, so we're going to browser source. We want the would it be window capture? Probably. Voidwalkers. Wacha! Alright, we're gonna... Yes, I am using Microsoft Edge. It is fucked up that Microsoft Edge, to my knowledge, right now is the best browser to run... It's like the best browser to run... Let me lower the volume of this. There you go. For Roll20, fucked up that Microsoft Edge, of all things, is the best thing to run it. To my knowledge, maybe some updates have passed and it's changed a little bit, but fucked up. It's so fucked up. I've never wanted to use Edge, but apparently it works way better. Okay, yeah, so like we have this little dungeon here. We have now not all of my dungeons from this campaign have been the most pristine, but you could sort of see where I was going with. In Voidwalker, so the thing is that this would be put into the token layer or GM layer, and the players would go up and sort of walk in through, it's like that ladder is where they start, and whoever walks here would then get trapped away from the rest of the party. And so the monster that was up here, they start like over here. So what happened in the actual campaign is Jax went up and like walked into here first and proceeded to then get trapped, leading everybody else in the party who would have been like over here, where's Abram? Where's the old? There's the old man. But yeah, it would then lead the rest of the party to have to sort of struggle to open a way to it's a one party member gets split, and while this monster chases them, they have to figure out a way through. There's some levers here. If you press the levers, this thing, so this originally wasn't this was originally on the GM layer. So what the player would have to do, whoever was stuck on this side, they would have to have their character sort of make acrobatics checks to parkour over to here, while the monster continued to chase them, and it had a swim speed, so it can continue through the water, though. Jax did a smart thing, which is press the lever, which summoned the bridge, but the bridge would fall down on top of the monster, And I made the monster stunned for a turn, as well as take some damage. Then they walk through. Then they like run through here. There was a couple enemies there. Then they continue running through, and they would find that this door over here is locked. So what Jax had to do is essentially go up and find a spot to hide. Well, she still had time to do so. Meanwhile, what the party had to do is this door is locked on their end. But this lever, there's a little a blue button. A blue button and a slot. And the slot has a metal ball that conducts temperature really well. So what the players had to do is essentially the recommended thing was you had Avram's character who had cold resistance. He went up. He'd be over here. There's some skeletons that spawned in that they had to fight quickly, but they had to hot potato a ball over to this iced over door. Hold the ball to the door to make the ball freeze. Become super cold. Then rush the ball over to here, put it in the slot, press the button, boom, door opens. They're now able to... Hello, I'm explaining a little Voidwalker's dungeon.
Alright.
I was explaining the Bag of Rats one.
I'm just going up and explaining that I might be gone for a few hours because they're gonna have me come into work so I can do a few things, but then they're also gonna figure out what work I can do or cannot do. So I will be gone.
Alright, see you around.
Alright.
But yeah, continuing what I was going on about, the thing with, now you'll see, the same slot that could take the ball, but now it's a red button. Now, there's multiple ways that they could do this. There's a quick way to do this, the short way to do this. This door's locked, by the way. Which has a key needed from the monster. So to open up this door, they need to then take the ball, heat it up with either a fire spell or the torch placed over here. There's a torch placed over here. They could heat up the ball with the torch, or they can or they can use a fire spell. In the case of things, they had a character use their magma magic to heat up the ball, put it in the slot. There's also some skeletons that they're fighting. Slam the button, door opens. They rush in at this point, and they all jump the monster together. The monster has a key that they then use there, and then they got the little evidence of the misdoings of the mage here. So like they have the evils now actually notarized a bunch of evidence via papers and like photos that they can take, and then that's the end of the dungeon. And so this dungeon deceptively was designed for a level 1 or level 2 group. I think they were level think they were level 2? Or no, level 1. I think they were still level 1 at this point. But you can easily see how one could make a like hard mode version of this. Make the monster here a little bit stronger, a little bit more difficult to deal with. Make the brain do the brain thing. You have the just like add stronger undead here. Like there are ways to make this dungeon a little bit harder, and it's a pretty quick dungeon to run through. It's one big encounter, but it's pretty fun. The main downside is that this would lead to with the nature of there is a little bit of a difference between how things should be run in a one-shot and how things should be run in a campaign. In a campaign, I do not feel bad about Jex being temporary, like not being involved with the rest of the dungeon and having to flee over and just having to spend most of the dungeon running. I don't mind that in a campaign. That's not too big of a deal in a campaign, because Jex has had multiple moments beforehand where she's been given like combat encounters entirely to herself by virtue of being a boxer. She is a fucking power player whenever things are drawn. So even though this dungeon is sort of a weaker point for her, it isn't that big of a deal because she really shines in other parts of the campaign. So it's completely fine to just like temporarily split one person from the party. In a one-shot, I don't recommend this, because if one player's entire experience of a dungeon is simply not participating, then it's gonna... I see. Thanks, Clover. Love you. But yeah, but yeah, the main thing that I wanted to sort of get across here is that splitting the party like I did in this dungeon in a one-shot, I wouldn't advise. In a campaign, it's fine. Because, yeah, in a campaign, it's fine that Jex spent most of this dungeon just running from a big monster and not, like, actually participating in any of the puzzles. I mean, she had her own things. Again, she had her little parkour segment. And the dungeon was super fast on both sides of the equation. Having a little agency on like when to pull levers and to like move the bridge to then smack it into the enemy, and then like shit, they're boxed in, so they have to figure out how to survive while they're still doing the dungeon. But it's objectively, like, from a player perspective, it would be a weaker point. Because they're sort of removed from the fun. During a one-shot, because you have so little time with each of the characters, removing someone for most of a dungeon, like effectively removing someone from a dungeon, like main activities, is a lot more like don't do that, because they're not gonna have a chance to show off their character. So it's important when making things like this to put into perspective what the objectives are, what you're actually like going for. Now that said, Zephyr Pharmaceuticals as a Starfinder 2e dungeon kind of goes hard. Okay. So this was a fucking doozy of a dungeon. Dungeon quotation marks. It's not a real dungeon. It's a fucking pharmacy building. The plot point was that there's a guy that goes up and the latest VOD. The fuck? We're still streaming. Okay, phone. Don't know what the fuck you're on about. Anyhow, the main thing with the Zephyr Pharmaceuticals dungeon is, so the setting is like cyberpunk dystopia type of setting. Makes sense. It's sort of a spacer campaign, so each planet has a different theme, but the one that this plot line was revolving around was sort of a dystopian setting, where sorcerers was being harvested behind the scenes by this sort of big pharmaceutical company. Like they were kidnapping sorcerers, they were sort of spiking drugs in the like distributing and spiked drugs into the sort of underground markets to try and kill off the like lower income groups, like evil ass faction. And they had all the cops in their pocket. So what this arc sort of, like what this sort of dungeon was, is so this was just the aftermath of it. But essentially, the players, they were level 2 at the time. So a group of, to make sure that they survived this, by the way, so it's like a bunch of level 2 players, and then I put 2 actual like good guy officers that are like they're fresh faced, they're not actually like they're not pulled into the culture of their workplace. So, you know, out of everybody, they're the only ones that still have the ideals of, you know, protecting and serving, and not what a lot of police officers turn into, which is essentially a gang. And so, how this sort of dungeon quotation marks how it was ran is that there's a few in the lobby. They run in, they start the fight, and as the fight happens, each of the elevators would then drop in more officers for them to like take out. And so that was floor 1, floor 2 has where a lot of them has where a lot of them are. So you'll notice some of these are still grayed out, and it's entirely because it's like if they just ran up, they would be deployed earlier. Funky thing, but there's people in the tubes here. Like, if I polished up this like map, this could be a pretty good like one shot, not like a adventure module. Like, I could just turn the first arc of Voidwalkers into a damn good Starfinder module. The only things that would need to be changed from the main plot arc is I gave unique intros for each of the players because I knew what characters they were playing. So Jack started the campaign in a boxing match. Skrull had their got introduced was sort of sent onto the job as a sort of representative of one of the gangs. Baron over here, he was just a sort of mercenary in between like bounty hunting jobs, and so he's looking for work finds him. And then lastly, Avram here, former hero of the land, now much older, having retired and has nothing better to do. And wants to just help out his community. A fun group, but all of them had like their own like little unique intro where I started one off in their home, one going up and like seeing a letter near their apartment. One of them had a meeting with the gangs first, and one was just in a boxing match and then was handed the like letter to go meet up at a pizza place over like go up and meet at a pizza place over at it's like afterwards. And so then they meet up at a pizza place, they get their little mission, and then they go through a couple encounters. Sort of given the rundown, I think I don't remember what's going on here. Oh wait, no, this was a practice. This was me because I was explaining how cover works. This was this page I was using to explain how certain mechanics worked. This is the first thing, little warehouse with rat folk. Love them. They're awesome. Love using Yosoki. There are a few more enemies that are not present here, and it is because Scroll turned them into terrain. They got Pompeyed a little bit. And they actually spared the big guy. They're like, because they're like, well, he's defeated and he's having a heart attack. Let's try and save his life. So they resuscitated him and then looked through the and just sort of like left him there. Which came back later. It's a fun thing. I could definitely like refine it a little bit, but yeah, like there was like a warehouse fight. There was this sort of clinic where there was like some hired thugs from the Zephyr Pharmaceuticals to try and take a suspected sorcerer. There is no sorcerer here. That said, the nurse over here is an Aasimar, so. But it's really splitting hairs, so. Just a fun little note. I should, yeah. Well, what was this one? This one's just empty. Yep, I think I showed all the little dungeons. Also, there's. I'm not going to explain this one. But yes, there was a mech they fought at level 2. It's fine. Look, sometimes you gotta let the level 2 characters fight some shit that's like, wow, that is actually crazy that like a normal person went up against this. What I'm basically saying is the power scaling for Voidwalkers was kind of just off the rails to begin with. Do the brain thing. Well, I stemmed for pretty long about my little Voidwalkers thing. So, I'm just gonna call the stream here. I said everything I needed to say. I'll see you guys tomorrow for some Hollow Knight. Again, nothing on Wednesday. There's something I need to do on Wednesday. So, nothing that day, but whatever. We're fine. It's fine. Hey Twitch, you can find me on YouTube. Hey YouTube, you can find me on Twitch. You guys can catch my ass on Blue Sky making art and now animations. Yeah, that's it. You could support me through Ko-Fi. You could support my bad fashion decisions and other decisions in general over on Throne. I prefer just being handed the money. You could also subscribe to the Twitch. But that said, I'll take the support. I'll take any form of support. anyhow, I'll see you guys when I see you guys. See you tomorrow. We're gonna play more bug game. Ugh.